Christ liveth in me. In the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me.
Okay. Now listen to what Paul says. Paul, the book of Galatians is written by the same person who wrote the book of Romans. Paul says this. Remember what we're talking about. We're talking about a sacrifice that is alive. A sacrifice represents something that was put to death. The sacrifice represents something that gave its life, something that has died. But he says, I want you, Corey, to be a living sacrifice. In other words, he's asking me to die to myself and live for him. This is what he is asking me to do. That's what a living sacrifice is. Now, Paul says in Galatians, the second chapter, the 20th verse, he says, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live. I'm crucified, nevertheless I live. Crucified means I've been put to death. Crucified means I've been murdered. That's what he said. He says, I have been crucified in Christ. I've died in Christ. But nevertheless, I am yet living. So what he's talking about here is the fact that Corey has died, and Corey has died so that Christ can live through Corey. Corey has to die so that Christ can live through Corey. And so Paul says, the Paul that you used to know is not alive anymore. That Paul has died. The Paul that you used to go to school with and laugh with and joke, he said that Paul is no longer alive. That Paul has been crucified in Christ. He died so that Christ could now live through him. Amen. And so what I used to be, I am not that anymore, because Christ is now living through me. He says, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I that is alive, but it is Christ that is living in me. That's very important. He says, it's not me that's alive, because I died when I gave my life to Christ. But he says, who you see before you now, it is Christ that is now living on the inside of me. It is Christ living his life through me. How are we able to love our enemies? It's because Christ is living his life through us. How can you forgive people that have hurt you and mistreated you? It's because Christ is living his life through you. How do you have the capacity to love people and be patient and kind? It's because Christ is now living his life through you. How are you going to be able to help the homeless and the poor? It's because Christ is now living his life through you. You give up your life so that he can live his life through you.
Amen.
That's what the Christian experience is all about. It is me dying to live for Christ. It is me giving up my right to live and yielding my body, my gifts, my talents, the Bible says my faculties and my members to be used for the glory of God. Because I don't have need of them anymore. Because I'm dead. I don't live anymore. I gave up my right to live. I gave up my right to live. See, if you're going to come to Christ, listen to this. If you're going to come to Christ, you have to give up your right to live. You cannot come to Christ and hold on to your right to be you. You got to make a swap. You got to make a decisive decision, decisive dedication. You got to give up yourself if you're going to have him. You can't have yourself and him. You got to make a decision. We want to try to get Christ and hold on to us. We want to get Christ, but we want to still go to the club. We want to get Christ, but we want to still get drunk. We want to get Christ, but we still want to do this and do that. He said you can't do that. You can't have me and yourself. You got to make a decisive decision. It's one or the other. Are you going to live or am I going to live through you? But both of us can't live at the same time.
Yes.
Either you're going to walk in the spirit or you're going to be in your flesh. But you can't do both of them. He says you got to come to the point where you make a decision with your life, who you're going to serve, how you're going to live your life. Are you going to die and allow Christ to live through you, or are you going to live your own life? But you can't do both of them. You got to make a decisive decision. You got to come to the point where you make a decision, I'm going to live for Christ. I'm going to allow Christ to manifest his love through me. I'm going to allow Christ to manifest his obedience through me. I'm going to allow Christ to use my mouth. I'm going to allow him to use my body. I'm going to allow him to use my talents, my gift. I'm going to give that to Christ, and he's going to work himself through me. And whatever I was before I came to Christ, I'm laying that by the side. I'm setting that to the side so that Christ can live fully through me. And that's what the Christian life is. That's what the Christian experience is. It is me swapping out my life for his life. It is me giving my life for his life. He died for me. That's what Paul is telling. Based on what Christ has done for you, you need to give him your life. He died so that he can live in you. He died so that he can live in you. You cannot have him living in you and you still living too.
Amen.
It ain't gonna work. Only one person can live. He says either you're gonna live or I'm gonna live, but both of us not gonna live. Now there's gonna be times in your life, Christian, where you're gonna be in a position where the old you is gonna desire to live in that moment. There's going to be times in your life where the old you is going to try to have his will and his way in that moment. And it's in that moment you have to make a decision who's going to sit on the throne in your life. Whether I'm going to yield my body to Christ or am I going to yield myself to myself and let my will be done. But you got to make a decision because somebody got to go to the cross and somebody got to go to the throne. Every time I'm in a situation where the word of God conflicts with my will or conflicts with my desire, it's in that moment where I'm going to decide who's on the throne in my life. Who's on the throne? Is Christ on the throne or is Corey on the throne? Is Christ calling the shots or is Corey calling the shots? Is Christ in control or is Corey in control? Now we can lie to ourselves and we can play all types of games, but your life is the way you live your life is manifesting who is in control of your life. And you can fool people, but you cannot fool God. He knows that this is what the Bible says. The Bible says, why do ye call me Lord and do not the things that I say? He says, I understand whether or not you belong to me or not. He says, I know the ones that belong to me. He says, some people say they belong to me, but they deny me with their works. That's what the Bible said. He said they confess that they know me. They confess that they're saved. They confess that they're born again. But their works or their life says otherwise. Their life denies me. And the Bible says that if you deny God before men, that he'll deny you before the Father. So it's a big deal when God says your works deny. That's not a small indictment. That's a big deal when God says your lifestyle denies me. Got to make that decision. Got to make a decisive decision. From this moment, I'm living for him. I'm dedicating my life to him. It's not my life anymore. It's his life. He's going to live his life through me. Come on, let's push on. Let's go down to, go back to the book of Romans. I had you in Galatians. Go back to Romans. Go back to Romans, the 12th chapter. Go to verse number 2. It says, do not be conformed to this world, to this age, fashioned after and adapted by its external, superficial customs, but be transformed, changed by the entire renewal of your mind, by its renewed ideas and its new attitude, so that you may prove for yourselves what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God, even the thing which is good and acceptable and perfect in his sight for you. Now I'm going to read the same verse from the King James. He says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your minds, that you may prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God. He says, Corey, do not conform. Conform means to take the shape on. Conform means to give in or to comply. That's what it means to conform. Conform means to give in to the pressure. Conform means to give in to the desire, to give in to the lust, to give in to the temptation. That's what it means to conform. That means there is a pressure on me to do something. And whether or not I give in is whether or not I conform. There's a pressure to do this. There's a pressure to go here. There's a pressure to say this. There's a desire to do this. He says, do not conform. Do not give in to the pressure pressure. Don't give in to what they're doing. You know, we teach our children this. We try to teach our children to be independent. We try to teach them not to give in to peer pressure. We try to teach them how to be a strong individual, to be in the midst of pressure, to be in the midst of people who are making bad decisions, but yet be strong enough on the inside to resist that pressure and make a good decision. We try to teach our children this, that you don't have to do what other people do. If so-and-so jump off the bridge and you're going to jump off the bridge, we try to teach them. And what we do is we try to instill in them an inner strength and inner character so that when they're in the midst of trouble, when they're in the midst of confusion, there is enough inner strength in them that they still make the right decision.
Amen.
So I try to teach and instruct you so that you will be an individual. One of the things I used to say to my kids all the time, especially my daughters, use your brain. Use your brain. Don't let somebody think for you. Use your brain in every situation. You use your brain. Don't allow somebody else to do the thinking for you. You think about it and then make a decision. And even if you decide and go the wrong way, at least do it off of your own thinking, not off of somebody else. Use your brain. Don't let somebody else think for you. Don't let somebody else decide for you. Don't let somebody else show you what you think for yourself. So we try to build on the inside of a child an inner strength, an inner resolve, so that when they're in a situation, they're strong enough to say no. That's a very powerful thing. The power to say no. That's a strong characteristic. The ability to say no. To be in the midst of all of your friends and see all of your friends doing something and you still have the ability to say no. There are a whole lot of adults who don't have the ability to say that. Because they get around certain people and they lose their inner self. They lose their independence. They lose their inner strength. That's why I tell y'all all the time, be around people who bring the best out of you. Don't be around people who bring the worst out of you. Because if you're the type of person who get around people and lose who you are, lose who you are. You don't even talk the same when you're around so-and-so. You don't even act the same when you're around so-and-so. To be able to be in that environment and still be able to make my own decisions, to be able to do my own thing, go my own direction, to be able to withstand the pressure to conform. That's what Paul is saying. He said, don't conform to the world. There is a pressure to think like them. There's a pressure to say what they say. There's a pressure to do what they do. There's a pressure for you to bank up off of righteousness. He says, don't conform to them. Don't give in to that pressure. There's a pressure to not call sin sin. There's a pressure to do what the world is doing. There's a pressure to try to find as much unrighteousness you can do and still call yourself a child of God. He says there's a pressure. But he says to the Christian, he says, do not conform to that pressure. Do not allow yourself to give in to that pressure. You withstand. You stand against that pressure. He says, don't conform to that. You resist that. You walk with God instead. You serve God instead. You obey God instead. Don't give in to the pressure that's trying to cause you to become like them.
Man.
He says don't give in to that. Verse number 2, he says from the King James, and be not conformed to this world. This world has an image. This world has an image. This world has a flow. This world has a way of doing things. This world has a way of thinking. This world has a way of living. The Bible says do not conform to this world, to the traditions of this world, to the thinking of this world. Do you not know that in the times that we live in now, that even on your jobs, there is a pressure to be politically correct? And even stuff you don't agree with, you won't say nothing about it, because if you say something about it, it'll make you the bad guy. There is no physical pressure. It's not a physical gun to your head, but there is a pressure there, and you feel it on your heart. You feel it on your mind. There is a pressure there that I better not say nothing, that I better not do nothing, because if I say something, they're going to turn against me. If I do something, they're going to turn against me. You know it's wrong. You know you shouldn't be doing it. You know you shouldn't be going there. You know it's contrary to the will of God. But yet there is a pressure there. And we give in to the pressure because our inner man is not strong enough to be an individual and be in the midst of the pressure and still remain true to myself. Be in the midst of the pressure and remain true to myself, even if you talk about me. Even if you call me holier than thou, even if you say you think he this and he think you that, but to have enough inner strength to be in the midst of the pressure and hold my ground because I love God more than I care about what you think or how you feel about me. I want to please God more than what you got to say about me. I want to please God more than how you going to run and talk about me. My desire is to please him more than it is on what you going to say about me. And so I have to stand in the midst of, not because it feels good, but because I made a decision and that I've dedicated my mindset and my heart towards God, and I have to stand for the truth, even if it means you ain't my friend no more. Come on here. He says here, verse number 2, he says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed. He's going to change me now. Transformation deals with the changing, becoming a different something. He says, being transformed, how? How am I going to be transformed? By the renewing of my mind. We're coming back to the mind, that faculty. The mind plays a big role in your success. It plays a big role in who you are, whether or not you're going to accomplish something. Your mind plays a big role. He says, but be transformed, Corey. How? By the renewing of your mind. If you're going to manifest what God wants you to manifest, your mind is going to have to be renewed. If you're going to stand strong in the things of God, your mind has to be renewed. If you're going to possess your promise, your mind has to be renewed. If you're going to have peace in the midst of this world, your mind has to be renewed. If you're going to stay married, your mind has to be renewed. If you're going to raise children, your mind has, whatever you're going to do, your mind is necessary for the success of that thing. Without your mind being fashioned in order, you are not going to win. You're not going to win. Depression will come in, fear will come in, doubt will come in, unbelief will come in, and these will rob you of your destiny. They'll rob you of your future. They'll rob you of who you are, because without these things, without your mind being made up, these things steal from you. How many years have we given up to fear? How many opportunities have we given up to fear? How many years have we wasted between two opinions? How much time? How much gift? How much opportunity? How much open doors that we have squandered because we have not had a made-up mind? Made-up mind. That's the ability to make your mind up is a very powerful thing. Amen. To be able to make a decision and stick with it. To make a decision and say, I'm going this way, and no matter what comes, I'm going to go this way. That's a very powerful thing. A lot of people don't have that, the ability to make a decision. I'm going in this direction. No matter what happens, this is the direction that I'm going in. I have a made-up mind. My mind is set. I'm going in this direction. Too many people are caught between two different opinions. That's what the Bible says in the book of James about two opinions. He says a man that has two minds, or that's double-minded, he says that man is unstable. That's what God says. God says that if you have two minds, matter of fact, let's go to the book of James. Let's go to the book of James. Book of James, the first chapter. Go down to verse number 6. Verse number 6, James 1 and 6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavering means to be going back and forth. Wavering deals with waves. Vacillating, going back and forth. He says the man that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. What's being driven? The person is. He says the man that has a wavering mind is like a boat on the sea. He's being driven. Like a wave on the sea, he's being driven. He's being pushed, he's being pulled. What's doing the pushing and the pull? The enemy is. Your flesh, listen to this, your flesh and your emotions is the enemy's